Hello children. Lines and angles, class 7, subject mathematics, chapter 5, and this is the part 1. So let's look at few definitions. Okay. So first is point. Okay. We have 4 definitions. Point, line, line segment and a ray. Okay. First let's look at the definition of a point. So the most basic in geometry is the point. It has no dimensions or size and is represented by a dot. Which means what? Point does not have any dimensions or any size. Okay? It is represented by a dot. Just one dot if we keep, that is called as a point. Okay? It does not have length, breadth or size, nothing. Okay? It is represented by a dot. Next, let's look at the definition of a line. So what do we mean by line? A line is a collection of points along a straight path. Which means what? When you write a point, okay, along a straight path, it is a line. Okay, so line is nothing but collection of points. When more points are written, that forms a line, which has to be close. Okay, you cannot write 1 point here and 1 point somewhere else. It has to be in a straight path. So a line has no end point and it extends to infinity in both the directions. Which means what? It does not have any end point. You can drag it. Okay, and it extends to infinity in both the direction. Okay. Next, a line segment is a part of a line with 2 end points. Which means it is a part of a line. Line segment is a part of a line and it has 2 endpoints, whereas line has no endpoints. Okay. Next, look at the definition of a ray. Ray means a part of a line with 1 endpoint. Which means what? Ray has 1 endpoint, whereas the other end can be extended to infinity. Okay. Let's look at the diagram of all these things. So the first figure represents the line. A line has no beginning point or end point. Okay, here the end points are not fixed. No end points. Okay, can you all look at this diagram here? Yes, the arrow mark represents that you can drag it to infinity. Okay, which means no end points. Okay. Imagine it continuing indefinitely in both directions. We can illustrate that by little arrows on both ends. Okay, if the arrow mark is there, which means no end point. Okay, next comes a ray. A ray has a beginning point but no end point. As you all can see, here you have got 1 point, which means a ray has a beginning point. Whereas what about the end point? It does not have any end point, as you can see in this diagram with the arrow mark. If arrow mark is present, it indicates that it has no end point. Okay, a ray has a beginning point but no end point. What about line segment? As you all can see in this last diagram, it is a part of a line. Okay, and it has got 2 end points, point A and point B. That's why it has got some fixed line segment. Fixed length. Okay. So this is about the definition of line, line segment, ray and a point. Next, let us look at the definition of an angle. An angle is formed when 2 rays have the same beginning point and that point is called vertex. The 2 rays that form the angle are called the sides. Now just let's look at this diagram. Okay, AB is 1 ray, yes, AC is another ray and those both are starting and or meeting at a single point called as A. Okay, that A represents vertex. Okay, so an angle is formed when 2 rays have the same beginning point, as you all can see in this diagram, right? So A is called as a vertex. And the 2 rays that form the angle are called side. Here AB is one side and AC is another side. Okay. A is the vertex, AB and AC are rays. They are the arms or sides of the angle. Okay. So these two rays are called what? Arms or sides. Okay. In general term, we use the term side. Okay. The angle is denoted by angle BAC or CAB. Okay. So this is the angle. BAC or CAB is the angle that is formed. Let's look at the units and types. The most common unit of angle is degrees. Okay, we will say it as 90 degree, 30 degree. We do not say it as 90 or 30, right? So that degree is the unit of an angle. Okay, the angle between a horizontal ray and a vertical ray is 90 degrees, as in the case of the two hands in a clock at 3 a.m. So at 3 a.m. what happens? What will be the angle? 3 o'clock will be something like this, right? So this represents 3 and here it represents 12. So this is 90 degree. Did you all get it, children? And let's look at the different types of angles. We have acute angle, right angle, obtuse angle and a straight angle, as you all can see in this diagrams. And let's look at the definition one after the other. So first comes acute angle. So an angle that measures less than 90 but more than 0 is called an acute angle. Okay, as you all can see in this diagram, acute angle. See, acute angle, which means less than 90 degree and more than 0 degree. Okay, next comes the right angle. A right angle is an angle measuring exact 90 degrees formed by the intersection of two perpendicular lines. Okay, so right angle in the sense what? Which measures exact 90 degrees. As you all can see in this diagram. See, right angle which measures 90 degree, and I have given the example of a clock, 3 o'clock, right? The two hands represents the right angle. Okay, next comes the obtuse angles. Angles greater than 90 degrees but less than 180 degrees are known as obtuse angle. You all have studied, right? Obtuse angle means greater than 90 degree and less than 180 degree. Next comes the straight angle. An angle that is equal to 180 degrees is called a straight angle. Okay, as you all can see in this diagram, straight angle represents a straight line. Okay, the angle of a straight line is straight angle. Okay, next comes the reflex angle. Reflex angle is greater than 180 degrees but less than 360 degrees. So these are the 5 types of angles. Okay, acute angle, right angle, obtuse angle, straight angle and reflex angle. Next comes complementary angles and supplementary angles. So complementary angles means when we add any two angles and if it is equal to 90 degrees, then it is called as complementary angles. Okay, in this diagram, if AOC plus COB is equals to 90 degree means complementary. Okay, so if the sum of two angles is 90 degrees, then the angles are complementary angles. Okay, so let's look at few examples like 30 degrees and 60 degrees. They together, when you add those to 30 plus 60 is what? We get 90 degrees and it is a complementary angle. 0 degree and 90 degree. When you add 0 and 90, you get 90, right? So it represents a complementary angle. Did you all get it, children? Next comes the supplementary angles. So when you add any two angles, if they add up to 180 degrees, then that is called as supplementary. Complementary in the sense when you add any two angles, you should get 90 degrees. And when you add two angles, if you get 180 degree, it represents the supplementary angle. Okay, in this diagram, angle AOC plus angle COB is equals to 180 degree. That is angle AOB. Okay, so two angles are supplementary if they add up to 180 degrees. So a way to remember, how can you remember that complementary means 90 and supplementary is 180? See, in alphabet, C comes first and then S, right? So the letter which comes first is 90 degree, the smallest number, 90 degree. 90 comes first and 180 comes later, right? Like that, C comes ahead of S in the dictionary. So you remember that complementary pair adds to 90 degree and supplementary pair adds to 180 degrees. Okay, and also here C of complementary stands for corner, a right angle, and S of supplementary stands for straight. 180 degrees is a straight line. Straight line. S supplementary. S. Okay, so like that also you can remember. So summary, what did we study? Definitions of line, line segment, ray, and also we have studied about the point. And also the definition of an angle, unit, and the types of angles. So here are few questions for you all to answer. So first question, if two angles are complementary, then the sum of their measures is dash. Second question, if two angles are supplementary, then the sum of their measures is dash. And the third question is, identify which of the following pairs of angles are complementary and which are supplementary. You know the condition, right? For complementary and supplementary, you have to add that and you have to check whether it is complementary or supplementary. And you have to write the answer as solution as complementary or supplementary. Okay, here are few questions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Please write it. Thank you, children. I hope you have understood whatever I have taught you in today's class. Let's continue in next class.